In today's video, we sit with Pieter from the SA Guide Dogs Association for the Blind to learn more about their mission, the process of training the dogs, and how these incredible animals change people's lives. Hi Pieter, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Can you start by giving us an overview of the mission of the SA Guide Dogs Association for the Blind?
The SA Guide Dogs Association for the Blind was established 70 years ago in 1953, and so this year is a very, very special year for us. We're celebrating 70 years of independence, companionship and freedom in this country. So it started off with the training of guide dogs through our founder member Gladys Evans, who brought the first dog onto the African continent, and she then established the association, and they focused on the training of guide dogs first. Then there was a need for orientation mobility services, so we established the College of Orientation Mobility in 1974, and that is to offer visually impaired people the alternative of mobility through the use of the long white cane. Then in the 90s, we added our second dog discipline to the training program, and that is service dogs, and that is for people in wheelchairs, where the dog is used to fetch, carry, switch lights on and off, open and close doors, etc., and to comfort the person in the wheelchair. And since the early 2000s, we now also added autism support dogs, and that is for families with a child on the high support autism spectrum, age group between 4 and about 12 years of age, where the dog is comfort to the child, and also with that type degree of autism, the children does have meltdowns very often, and then they want to run away. So we connect the dog and the child together for specifically when they're in public, so the child cannot pull loose and run off, because the dog is the anchor, and the dog gets controlled by the mom, dad, or the caregiver, and it just brings wonderful calmness and tranquility into the life of the child and the family.
Can you tell us about the process of selecting and breeding potential guide dog candidates?
We're actually breeding our own dogs. We make use of semen that we import from our fellow guide dog schools in America, Canada. We're looking at Australia and Europe as well, and that is so that they have got very diverse breeding programs. Because we're a small school, we do not have that diversity necessarily, so we import semen, and then through artificial insemination and with the assistance of Petworld, because we also have a memorandum of agreement with University of Pretoria, they then do the selection and the artificial insemination, and we will then supply our own breeding stock, the females, and once they're pregnant and it's time for them to deliver their puppies, they will come to our puppy center, which is at our guide dog training center here in Johannesburg. The puppies will then be born there, will stay with mom for the first approximately 8 weeks, and then they will go on to our puppy raising scheme.
Pieter, how are guide dogs trained, and how long does the training process usually take?
From birth, at about 2 to 3 weeks of age, they actually start with stimulating the puppies in the puppy center on a specific program. Then they go on to the puppy raising at approximately 8 weeks, and they stay on puppy raising up until about 16 to 18 months, and that's when they will enter the full training program, which can be 6 to 8 months. So any dog is approximately 2 years old when they're fully trained, and they get selected to be matched with their prospective new handler, which is then either a blind person when it's a guide dog, a service dog will go to someone in a wheelchair, and autism support dog will go to a family where there's an autistic child.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the relationship between the handler and the dog? And how do you match a specific dog with a specific handler?
An instructor will obviously work with a particular dog for a period of 6 to 8 months and will get to know the character and temperament of that dog. And on our waiting list, we have a selection of a variety of people from young to old, different walks of life, working, doing less and more adventurous things. So we then, once we know what is the temperament of the dog, we will then select the right dog for the right person. It's very important that that match is done as perfect as possible, because we don't want a dog with, a fast-paced walking dog with an elderly person that's walking slow. You've got to make sure that the dog is going to be complementary to their lifestyle, and vice versa. That if there's an area where the dog is maybe not as strong, that maybe something like direction. If it's a dog that's not very direction orientated, that the blind person or the handler knows exactly where they are, where they're going to, and will focus on certain clues in the environment.
Pieter, how can people watching this video today get involved and support the South African Guide Dogs Association for the Blind?
An organization like ours, we make use of volunteers. Volunteers can be done either through volunteering at our premises. We've got a few projects there, but our biggest need is volunteering on the puppy raising side, and that's basically to take in a little pup of 8 weeks into your home and allow them into your heart, into your children's hearts. Keep them away from your shoe cupboard and your broom cupboard and your creepy crawlies and whatever, and help us to socialize them and form their little characters up until the age of 16 to 18 months when they go into their official training program.
Now we'd like to bring in a leader and Mandla, and they're going to do a demonstration for us on how these dogs are trained.
Alida is the puppy raising manager, and we constantly need new people on board on puppy raising. So Alida will take you through the motions, will show you what it's all about, and we do require volunteers for puppy raising purposes, specifically in Johannesburg, although we do have got a need for it in Cape Town too, but on a lot smaller scale than in Johannesburg.
And if someone wanted to find out more, what is your website address? Where could they go and find more information?
People would like to get involved in different ways, either support financially or, nowadays a lot of our income comes through legacies. If people would like to nominate a portion of their estate to the association, they would like to get more info, they can go on to www.guidedog.org.za. All our social media handles are there: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. So depend on which one you would like to follow. And, all the info is there. Our contact telephone number is there. And people are welcome to get in contact with us either telephonically or through an email.
Pieter, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you coming through and teaching us so much valuable information about the very important work that the SA Guide Dogs Association does. And to say thank you, we would also like to show our support for the organization, and we would like to hand over this check of 10,000 Rand in Petworld shopping vouchers so that you can spoil all these incredible animals the way they deserve to be spoiled.
Kim, that is indeed a treat. Thank you so much for that. And specifically because today's International Guide Dog Day, it is extra special, and thanks for your past support to our association as well. Our dogs love you.
Oh, Pieter, we love your dogs too.